if you told me, sorry about that, my freaking phone died before, so I apologize. But anyway, if you were to tell me just 3 months ago that the Mavs would be below the Lakers right now, that would have been unbelievable. Honestly, the fact that the Lakers are even above 500 right now after the first 70 games. Dude, I got a crazy stat. Through the first 70 games of the season, the Lakers were not above 500. But they've now won 9 of their last 11. And they're playing a lot of mediocre to bad teams, but the fact that they've passed up the Mavericks is mind-blowing. Which leads me to my second argument, or not the argument, the last topic on where did I go wrong. AD he played 9 of the last 31 regular season games. I always saw him, really talented, but lacked consistency. And, he lacked consistency. He was very brittle. That's what I always saw as Anthony Davis's problem. But, I've always seen that as his problem, not his talent. But, the last few games, this last stretch, 29 of his last 30, he's pretty much been the focal point that he was supposed to be since 2 years ago. And he's becoming dependable and very solid. Playing through injury, which he's never done before. So, alright, that's it for where did I go wrong, which segments me into my Lakers segment. They've won 9 of their last 11, as I said. And some teams, as I mentioned before, some of the teams they're playing are pretty bad, honestly. But they've been playing. What I've been really impressed with is they're playing well. Last year and most of this year, I saw them as being very dependent on LeBron. And while LeBron is still a great player, he's not really a guy who can depend on to carry you anymore. 2018 was 5 years ago when he was able to carry the Cavs. That was amazing, but that was 5 years ago, when he carried the Cavs all the way to the finals. I think a lot of times people forget how long ago that really was and how quickly someone's body can kind of decline. And yes, I know LeBron can still average 30, but the point I'm trying to make is at his age now, he requires help. At age 39, he requires help. In order to even stand a chance at winning. I don't think they can win a playoff series without Anthony Davis. So lately they've been playing pretty good without LeBron, which to me shows promise, honestly. And I feel like, I'm not sure how it's going to transition, but they've been playing, I feel like they've been playing at a playoff basketball level, highly emotional, highly, invested basketball. It seems to me they're kind of already in that mode that most teams don't get into until the playoffs start, and I'm not sure if they're going to burn that out by the time postseason. I'm not sure if it's going to carry in to the postseason, but that's kind of why I see the Lakers as the most interesting team in the West right now. Them and the Warriors, really. The Lakers and the Warriors, I find very interesting. Because of, they're low seeds, and I don't think they'll win, either of them will win the finals ultimately. But I think both of them had a tough time early in the year and recovered, and I don't think it's crazy to say they can make a decent run. You know, like, by decent run, I mean, like, second round. I don't mean Western Conference. I don't necessarily mean Western Conference Finals, but decent run into, like, the second round or something. For the Lakers, I don't think it's a success because you got LeBron James and you're always going to be expected to win the championship. But, considering where they started, it's a win for Darvin Ham. It's a win for their coach. Really. But not the players. But I feel like they've got depth, and they're a lot more balanced. They've played a lot better basketball, you know. And honestly, I think the Timberwolves and the Lakers should both be in the playoffs right now. I don't know how many times I've said this, but I'm not a big fan of the play-in game. I'm really not. You know, I think the format, I don't like that they're messing with the format, really. It was always the first 8 seeds. They make it in, and, you know, that's it. That's the playoffs, you know? But now, we're giving 9 and 10 seeds the chance to get in, and they don't really deserve it. They lost their chance, you know, so... But we'll see what the Lakers can do. They've gotten a lot of breaks. So, I mean, there's not really a lot of excuses if they lose to the Timberwolves. I mean, I really don't expect them to, especially now that Rudy Gobert's out. You know? So, yeah, I mean... Let's move on to the other interesting team, the Warriors. So, Steve Kerr said... Andrew Wiggins is progressing, but there's no timetable for a return. Honestly, them playing Sacramento, I think they match up pretty well. I believe they're going to win the series. You know, but I think Sacramento really came out of nowhere. I don't think anyone expected them to be good, but I honestly see them as... I mean, I'm still struggling to see them as a top contender, but... I mean, I can see them winning this... You could probably talk me into Sacramento winning the series in, like, 6 or 7 games, but... I think the Warriors got it. You know, and, I'll probably say... The Warriors win. I'm also going to take the Suns over Clippers. So that'll put the Suns against the Grizzlies and Denver against Golden State. I think Golden State loses to Denver. And I'll take the Suns over the Grizzlies. So, yeah. And then on the Eastern side, it's very basic, but I'll take the Celtics Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. I just don't think there's anyone else that can contend. I mean, I'd love to see my Cavs go all the way, but I don't think it's happening. So, yeah. That actually segues us into the next segment. The Suns are 8-0 with KD. You know, honestly, I think you all know where I stand on KD going to the Nets. I thought that was a dumb move. I don't think going to a team just to be there with a friend is a very good idea. Especially when that friend is Kyrie Irving, who makes every team worse. And Kevin Durant, he'll always make any team he goes to better because he'll average 27, 28 a night. You know, and he really doesn't lose a lot of games. when Kevin Durant has the right help, as well as when Kevin Durant's the center point of the offense and has the right help, that team is always dangerous. The Nets, who I thought they ran. I guess it was a good move, but a bad idea. Or no, it was a good idea, bad fit. The big three of Harden, Kyrie, and KD. As you guys all know, I didn't buy into that. Because they just never played together. So when they went into the playoffs together, they had no chemistry. And that's why they lost. That's why they lost in the second round. But honestly, I think this Suns team is legit. I don't know if they can beat Denver. I'm not sure. And even if they beat Denver, I'm not sure if they can beat Boston or Milwaukee. But Kevin Durant is going to get 40-plus minutes in the playoffs. The Clippers do have one thing. They have a solid coach. Tyronn Lue is a very solid coach. But when you're getting 40 minutes of Kevin Durant, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough to deal with. But yeah, Suns, I'm going to take them in, honestly, 5, at most 6 against the Clippers. Paul George and Kawhi are always hard to bet against, but not in this situation. The Suns are really good with KD. So we're going to talk some 49ers here with their quarterback situation. I know it's a topic I talk about a lot. But it's very interesting. The way the Niners run things there, because they don't pay their quarterback a lot, which is very, it's very contradictory to what other what every other organization does. Every other organization pays off their quarterback as much as they can. But San Francisco, no. And they're equally as successful. That's the weird thing. But I think it's good. They got a good thing going for them. Because, you're not sure what Trey Lance is, but the good news is you have Brock Purdy. You know what he is. And Brock Purdy is a foil to Trey Lance. He's not that strong, but Purdy is very accurate. Trey Lance is strong, but he's inaccurate, So, we can give, I'm sure, I think they should start Purdy at the beginning of the year, and then, if his elbow injury carries into next year, I don't think it's a bad thing to start Trey Lance and see what he is. I think I said the same thing last year, with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, if Rodgers did decide to sit out last year, which thankfully he didn't, it's not a bad thing. I think I said the same... I think I said the same thing. I said the same thing when the Packers were almost out of the playoffs. I said, if they get eliminated, just throw Jordan Love in there and see how he does. Because I think the Packers have to find out what Jordan Love is. Rodgers, we can never predict what he's going to do in the offseason. Although, right now, it seems pretty clear. But, even under the crazy circumstance he stays, I still think the Packers have to see what Jordan Love is, And I think the Niners should see the same should do the same with Trey Lance. They should see what he is. But like I said, they also have to play it safe. If Purdy is healthy, I think start him. If his UCL injury carries into next year, throw Trey Lance in there and see how he does. If you're 5-1, if Trey Lance goes 5-1, the decision is going to be tough, but I'm sure John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan will make the right decision because they're very smart with their quarterback and how they run things there. So that's my opinion on that. So Lamar posted a picture of a FaceTime call with Odell. So I really don't know how to react to this because Lamar, honestly, it's crazy that I would have never guessed that Aaron Rodgers' decision would seem more clear than Lamar's. Because Aaron Rodgers has been so mysterious the last 3 years, every offseason. With this year, he seems pretty set on going to New York. While Lamar, we got no idea what he's doing. I'm sure he'll wind up staying because... I think he'll wind up staying because there's really... What is he, 26, 27? I mean... That's just a guess. That's an estimate, but... I think his career is too young for him to be moving teams like this. He wins with Baltimore. That's the big thing. He wins with Baltimore. So, if I were him, I would 100% not leave. Push your ego to the side, honestly. Because, I don't know why would we let... I've mentioned before, I understand why he would like the contract he's asking for. I get why he would like the contract he's asking for, but we can't let the Browns set the standard. Just because the Browns' incredibly disorganized organization decided to pay a criminal a fully guaranteed contract doesn't mean every organization should do that with their quarterback. And Lamar, honestly, he is worth more than Deshaun Watson at this point. Whether he's more talented or not is a question, but from what we saw last year, Deshaun Watson's very rusty. And honestly, Deshaun Watson's a very controversial figure right now. So, naturally, Lamar is worth more than he is. And my opinion is Lamar is better than Deshaun Watson is. But the Ravens are a smarter organization than the Browns. So they are not going to pay fully guaranteed money. I wouldn't pay fully guaranteed money to a guy that has won a Super Bowl. I feel like, because you never know if they're going to decline or something. Look at Russell Wilson. He was doing very well last year, and then this year he just completely fell off and declined. Players not every player has a gradual decline. Some people just drop. Even Russell Wilson, who has had a fantastic career up until this year, he really never had a bad year until last year. So, I don't know where Lamar stands, but I really think he should stay. All right, so we got the draft and the NBA playoffs in the next few weeks. I'm probably gonna have to miss it, but I'll cover as much as I can this week while I'm free. And what's interesting? Seattle is sitting there at 5. Seattle has all those picks. I mean, and the crazy thing is they don't need a quarterback. So honestly, with all those picks, they can probably trade down from 5, and they can probably trade their 5 and get even more. You know, because they don't need a quarterback. They got Geno Smith showed plenty of promise this year. So, I mean, if they trade down and let the other teams draft their quarterbacks, that might be ideal for them. All right, got a few more topics to cover, then I'll be out. I'm just going to leave you the same way I always do, as much as I hate doing it. I appreciate none of you losing interest in this podcast. I mean, I didn't lose any downloads, so it's very helpful. But anyway, let's get back to sports here. Rudy Gobert will not be traveling to LA for the play-in game against the Lakers. And I mean, the Lakers, they really should win this game, man, with all the mitigating factors there are. And now Gobert's out. I mean, that's a big hit for the Timberwolves. And I'm not underestimating Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. They're great players. Those two. But I'm just saying, it's going to be tough. And Anthony Edwards I think he's showed great promise over the years. He just had 26 and 13 yesterday against the Pelicans. You know, and I mean, you got Karl Towns, who he's done well. He's had that lingering, what was his problem? I don't know, he's had like that lingering injury, though. You know, he was known as, like, kind of iffy, for Sunday, you know? And, you know, there's only so much two players can do against the Lakers, who have been on fire recently. And if the Lakers carry that energy into this game, I mean, it will be fantastic. Honestly, what the Lakers have to do is shut down one of them. Because you cannot win with one player. In this day and age in the NBA, you cannot win with one player. You have to have at least two. Even the Lakers, who are the 7th seed, they have their 2 stars, Anthony Davis and LeBron. Those are your 2 stars. You know, but the problem is, if you take one of them out of the game, it's done. You saw what happened with the Clippers. The Clippers took AD out of the game, and LeBron was not able to carry the Lakers to the win. You know, so the Lakers shut down Towns or Edwards, just one of them. The Timberwolves are completely out of the game. So, I mean, I hate to see it, and I hope the Timberwolves can beat the Pelicans or Thunder in their second chance in the play-in game. I hope they make the playoffs, because honestly, I think they have great promise, the Timberwolves. And like I said before, I just hate the idea of the play-in game. I think it's ridiculous that 9 and 10 seeds have a chance, even though they really didn't earn it, because I'm not going to get back to that. Anyway, you know what team didn't even earn a play-in spot is the Mavs. We're going to go back to them because there's something interesting about Luka. He's obviously very good. He averaged 32 this season, 32, 8, and 8. He's a great all-around player. But I'm not sure he's, like, fully... I get the sense he can be a lot better. more committed. And I mean, I think what a lot of people are afraid of seeing is Luka become kind of like a Damian Lillard, where, every year he's kind of, in that play-in spot, and then, or not in that playoff, in those playoff spots, and then just tapers off. The Trailblazers for a bit were playoff teams, and then just, they got bounced immediately in the playoffs. They never really got to that championship level contention. And I mean, I just think, I would stay if I'm Luka. Like I said, I think he's too young to leave, and this was kind of the first year. I mean, it was his best year, but I don't know. His situation with the Mavericks is hard. I mean, it's hard to deal with. I don't know what he's going to do, but I mean, he said he's happy with Dallas, so, I think he's 24 years old, so, I mean, if I were him, I wouldn't make any crazy moves as early in his career. Alright, so, Carson Palmer came out and said Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the league, more consistent than Mahomes. And, honestly, I think Mahomes is the best in the league, and I think Burrow is second. I think Burrow has proven to be better than Justin Herbert. As tough as it sounds. I think the problem is we live in the world where it's kind of like, Mahomes has 2, Burrow has 0. I think that's always going to be a problem. Mahomes is an MVP, Burrow doesn't. But, I mean, the argument I would make for Joe Burrow is he did not inherit what Mahomes did. Burrow didn't get Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Andy Reid out of the gate. No, he got a rookie head coach and a bunch of young receivers that were still developing. That's what he got. That's what he inherited. And the Bengals have become a very dangerous offense, but here's the thing. I mean, it's hard to say that Burrow is better than Mahomes, and I don't necessarily agree that he's more consistent, because I don't think Mahomes is inconsistent at all. And obviously Mahomes is more dynamic than Burrow is. But I don't think the gap is as big as some people say. Like, I think a lot of people like to say, it's Mahomes and a gap, and then, the other people, however they rank the other quarterbacks in the league, Rodgers, Allen, Burrow. But yeah, I don't think the gap is as big as many others think. But alright, one more segment, and then I'll call it a day. So, as I mentioned before, I kind of compared Lillard to Luka. Apparently, Lillard is not interested in a rebuild with guys, to quote him, 2 or 3 years away in Portland. I mean, if I'm Portland, I might consider trading Lillard. I mean, Lillard's been great. He's a great quarterback. I mean, oh my God, I said quarterback. That's crazy. Obviously, Lillard's a great player. But he's honestly getting up there in age, really. And as terrible as it is, to tank his... I hate for him to be one of those guys that leaves his career without a ring, but mean, that might just be... He averaged 32 this season, and they went 33 and 49. I mean, that's just not a good... Not a good spot. But yeah, I would consider trading him because there might be other places that he goes to that he has a better chance. He's 32. And also, maybe he just doesn't work well with the Blazers. Maybe there's another organization that would work better with him. You know? But yeah, I mean... That's what I would consider as the Blazers. I think the Blazers will benefit from that. Because if they can trade him off for, like, draft picks and younger assets, I mean, the problem is the Blazers don't particularly draft well. So I don't know how much of value that is, but I think it's worth a try. All right, so pretty good podcast today. Solid 31 minutes. Hopefully, I will see you tomorrow, but if not, as I always say, I will see you whenever I can, and do these whenever I can, whenever I have the time. And I can guarantee you this, over the summer, I will do a lot more of these. I'll do as much of these as I can. That is the promise I always make. Alright, have a good day. I'll see you hopefully tomorrow.